Today, the 2nd of February 2023, you have turned 45 years of age. How does it feel?
Well, I'm feeling excited, thankful, grateful, a sense of gratitude to the Almighty, God the Creator. You know, the universe and His fullness are all authored by our Father in heaven. We have our Father who is in heaven, who is the source of all strength, wisdom, generosity, all the blessings we have, the grace and the favor. So I reflect and I look at the journey that I traversed so far, across the length and breadth of our country, across the world. I see the hand of God. The victories are phenomenal. The testimonies are incredible. And I must say that the help that I have received from Zimbabwe, you know, at 45, you are a product of so many people who have made you, who have contributed, who have added onto you in value, in intellect, in support, in protection, amity, happiness, and I salute those people. So I'm so excited that I've now attained the wisdom age. You know, this whole business of saying "Mkomana, Mkomana, Ayawaka," that was Gomana.
But by all chance, this is not a personal accomplishment, so to say. You have a very serious national task where many people are actually looking forward to you as a presidential candidate. How does this feel for you to carry the hopes of millions of Zimbabweans who are rallying behind you as the next presidential candidate?
Well, you know, leadership is a calling. Leadership is an assignment, it's a task. It's not just a title, it's a responsibility. And because it is a responsibility, it's a heavy burden, which burden you are not able to carry by yourself. You can only carry this burden on account of providence from above. And when I say God is in it, a lot of people have not understood what I mean by saying God is in it. God is in it in the sense that any other thing that happens in one's life, in the lives of nations, in the lives of communities, in human existence, is all authored by our Father in heaven. So when we say God is in it, the ups and downs, the challenges, the twists and turns, all the vicissitudes of life, all the circumstances of life are for His glory and ultimately for His will and purpose to be established. And so I see myself, the task that I've been given is a task to lead Zimbabwe into prosperity and to usher the transformational promise. Yes, with the liberation generation, who ushered in the liberation epoch, that liberation was checked out. Freedom was not fully delivered to the citizens. So the transformational mandate is a mandate that we must now deliver as a generation to make sure that at this particular juncture, we usher in the country unto restoration, unto transformation, unto reconstruction, unto modernization, unto ultimately the ability for people to reconcile. We are too divided as a people. We are too divided as a country. We need to be a nation. We have just been a country, a geographical, composition. But beyond the boundaries we have called Zimbabwe, north and south, between Zambezi and Limpopo, we need to make sure that we become a country and begin to build a nation. So it's a nation building country. To build a nation, you don't look at parties. To build a nation, you don't look at tribes. To build a nation, you don't look at the sectors. To build a nation, you don't look at gender. You look at all the various manifestations, the mosaic illustration of our great population, and build on the basis of truth, unity, love, peace, reconciliation, and amity and harmony.
You've been on this trajectory for more than 20 years now, specifically as the alternative in this public politics. How confident are you that we are almost there, or are you most likely going to attain this very huge national responsibility?
Well, I've said 2023 is a fantastic year. Not only is it 2023, it's 2023. It's actually plenty 23 because of the freedom that is going to be ushered in, because of the plenty that Zimbabwe is going to be. Zimbabwe is going to be moving from a basket case to being a bread basket for not just the continent, but for the whole world. We are going to begin to see Zimbabwe being restored in a big way. The restoration of dignity, the restoration of hope, the restoration of justice, the restoration, more importantly, of the confidence of the citizens in their rights, their freedoms, their capacities, and their abilities. We need to make sure that we bring back Zimbabweans to their homeland, to their home country, and build this great country, and build this great nation, and to be number one once more in agriculture, in manufacturing, in sports, in industry, everywhere. We must be taking the number one position, as we have always done, because we are a number one people. We are the first in many things, and this is why we have said, when we get everything around leadership sorted and fixed, everything follows. Seek ye first leadership, and everything follows.
But let's speak more about your personal life. Too many times you speak about God is in it, and how God is involving and leading you. We just need to understand, does Advocate Nelson Chamisa has this personal life and time where you personally celebrate yourself, your success, and more importantly, today, like your birthday, do you personally celebrate this as an individual?
Well, when you are a leader, you cease to be a person. You are an institution, and you are those people you represent. So the celebration is through others. And so I celebrate through others when we look at how to improve lives, how to improve circumstances for different communities, for different age groups, for different young people are currently suffering from the scourge of drugs. We need to liberate our country from this master, the master called drugs. We need to make sure that our young people are introduced to a sense of accomplishment, a sense of responsibility, a sense of opportunity, a sense of hope. And that can only happen when we provide leadership. So we've been reaching out to young people, trying to get young people to also be engaged and to understand that they are masters of their destiny, that they are authors of their destiny, and they must not worship drugs. They must worship God, celebrate their existence. They must always put their Lord Jesus Christ at the center. So when I say God is in it, it's not a statement of weakness. It's a declaration of faith. I know that when God is in everything, you can't be a fair leader. You want to lead God's people when you don't know the God of the people. So you must have a relationship with the God of the people for you to be able to lead the people. People belong to God. The earth and its fullness thereof belongs to God. Not this whole hullabaloo and nonsense to say, no, Psalms 24. God is the author and the owner of the universe, of this world, and everything that is in it within it. So this whole thing of us as citizens, us as leaders, that's why when we swear to God that so help me God, you lift the Bible unto the Lord to say, I'm now doing stewardship, I'm leading on your behalf. It's a godly, it's a divine assignment. You are doing it on behalf of God. The only thing is that there are too many criminals who raise this Bible and they don't raise their hearts to God and their minds to God. All they are raising is the Bible, but they continue their criminal conduct and they depart from the path of service, the path of humility, the path of accountability and responsibility, which are all authored by our God in heaven.
Many people are asking, we are now in the year that we've been waiting for since the last election, the 2018 election. Now we're into 2023. What are we supposed to be expecting, specifically from you as a leader of the biggest opposition party in Zimbabwe?
We've been preparing. God's time is the best, and we're almost ready. Ready to take off, ready to win, and ready for victory. It has been a long time. A lot of people are here, they say, oh no, so you have not been registering people. A lot of work has been done. You wouldn't get 6 million votes or voters on the voters form without effective work. The whole of last year, we had a program called Mugwazo, which was a community-embedded program, an organic program to organize people, to organize communities, to organize citizens, to make sure that there's registration, to make sure that there's participation, to make sure that young people especially are able to participate and make a difference in their own age. And we have said, apart from just making sure that we have this registration process going on, there is need for us to also have reforms in place. That's why we have, for the past 3 years, we started in 2021 what we call the Citizen Action for Change. It was to galvanize our people through convergence. and we convince Zimbabweans to come together to begin to talk about things that they want to see. And they told us they want to see reforms in place. They want the diaspora vote. They want the United Nations to observe elections. They want the voters vote to be credible. They want also to make sure that when the vote is done, results are announced real time. There is no shenanigans around the polling stations, around the polling agents. All those things were part of a journey that we traversed.
Are we going to be seeing these reforms, Advocate Nelson Chamisa? These are very serious reforms that we've been demanding and speaking about. Because many times we've been always crying of the elections.
I'll come to the reforms.
Are we going to be seeing this being implemented? And do you think we're going to be having a free and fair election?
I'll come to the reforms, but I was just telling you that it has been a journey. We started with the convergence in 2021. It was Citizens Convergence for Change. We moved on to the next year, which was 2022, and we did what was called Citizen Action for Change. We are in 2023, which is Citizen Victory for Change. So it has been a clear pattern, a clear trajectory, signposted by different activities, from convergence to action and now to victory. So we are on the home stretch. This is the final year. This is the year. We have to celebrate. We have to be ready, not just to celebrate, but also to be ready for a new government, because that government is upon us. It's a citizen government. It's going to come. Now, you have asked me about reforms. Have we done reforms? There is a bill before Parliament with respect. I was actually getting a briefing just this morning from our team in Parliament. We asked them to engage ZANU-PF, to engage government, to say, what is it that we must be able to do together? Building a nation is not a solo effort. Building a nation is not a solo project. Nation building takes two to tango. So we have to reach out to ZANU-PF. We have given them our 7 critical issues that we want to see being effected into the bill. The bill is before Parliament. It must be a product of a bipartisan or multi-party discussion so that we have one agreed position. It takes all to build a nation. You can't build a nation from a partisan basis. In fact, parties don't liberate nations. Parties don't transform nations. It's not one party that liberated our country. It was a people's project, a citizen project. Of course, represented by different political parties, ZAPU, ZANU, you name it. But for our project to succeed, it has to be a citizen project beyond just the parties. And that's why we have to come together before Parliament, discuss the reforms, implement those reforms. If those reforms are not implemented, would have failed in terms of nation building and clearing a pathway to freedom, a pathway to happiness, and a pathway to prosperity for our nation and our national pride.
Do you think that as ZANU-PF government or members of Parliament are going to give in to these reforms? And do you think they are ready to level?
It's not giving in. There's not. They are not giving in. It's a common and good thing to do. Coming together is progress. Working together is prosperity. And we've said, let's start with the progress of coming together as a people. And of course, let's then begin to build on that. We must not have this zero-sum game. Let it be a win-win situation. Everyone must win. Those who accompany those others to win, and those who win must know that there's no loser. Zimbabwe must win. We must be a winning people. We must be a winning nation. We must be a winning and a leading country. We lead by leading in electoral reform, in credible elections, in making sure that the elections are not disputed. We don't want this whole thing of fighting over elections. Let's fix all our broken issues around elections. And I've already articulated those issues. We need a voters' form that is auditable, verifiable, and agreed upon. We need to make sure that Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is independent and professional and unbiased and non-partisan. We need to make sure that the diaspora vote is respected. People have to be allowed to vote. Under our government, you will not have to queue for registering to vote. It's going to be digitized, automatic. Once you attain the age of 18, you are going to be on our platform, not just for the driver's license, not just for pensions, but also to be able to know that you're on the voters' form. We then deploy it to ZEC, but registration has to be automatic. But that is only under our dispensation. We've already raised it to say it's not too late to do it, because it's modern, it's a digital government, it's an accountable government, but more importantly, it's a credible government.
Allow me to just come back to you if you're there today. We just need to understand, how do you balance off, specifically as a politician, as a lawyer, and also as a pastor? You've got 3 very key offices that you hold each and everything within. How do you strike a balance?
There's no need for a balance. It's one person, it's all responsibilities. And if you're a leader, you are a pastor. That is why we have had problems in this country. The national president of the country is a pastor because you are a shepherd. But you see, when you have a leader who doesn't understand that they are pastoring, they will start beating up the ones they lead. They will start killing those they lead. Because they don't understand that leadership is pastoring, it's shepherding. It's from the word pastor, from Greek. You have to be able to take care of the people whom you have been given to your charge through voice, through God. And you must protect them. You must feed them. You must clothe them. You must take them to school. You must make them happy. My task is to bring that happiness for Zimbabweans to be happy again. And that is all emanating from understanding your responsibilities. A leader is essentially a pastor, but on a national scale, so that you are able to shepherd people of your country, the citizen. So this whole thing of saying the leader must understand the law. And the pastor understands the law because the 10 commandments are the basis and the foundation of the law. All these constitutions you see across the whole country are but just different versions of the 10 commandments. Some bastardizing them, some corrupting them. But the bottom line is that the Bible is the constitution of constitutions. When you respect that Bible, you are respecting constitutions. And constitutionalism is a biblical phenomenon and concept because the 10 commandments were given as the main constitution. And then, of course, human beings have been writing their own constitutions, drawing from and flowing from the main constitution. So yes, a leader must be a person who understands the law, must be a person who understands that they are a pastor, must be a person who understands that they are also a father, they are a parent, they are a mother, depending on your gender. In fact, the Bible says that God himself is the lawgiver. He is also the one who governs. He is also the one who ultimately interprets and delivers justice. So yes, if you are a leader, you carry all those 3 offices in one. And there's no contradiction, there's no balance to be made. If anything, it's an exciting journey. Unless if you are not a proper leader, you start deploying people to be beaten up by riot police in the streets, you start arresting journalists, you start arresting even your competitors. Why is Job Scala, in prison for over half a year without even bail? For what? You must not be resorting to tactics of a criminal when you are occupying the office of stewardship and honor. You dishonor the office, you disfigure the mandate, and also you bastardize God's purpose in deploying leaders for the goodness of his people.
Former opposition leader in Zambia, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, for the first time, is going to be the leader of the SADC Troika.
He's the head of state.
Head of state.
You can say you like opposition leaders.
I was giving a background. Coming from an opposition, former opposition, now the president and the head of state of the Zambia.
Which is also the language that must be corrected. Now, once you start to say there is opposition, there is ruling, but that language in Africa must be corrected. Because once you talk opposition, it's adversary. It's an alternative government.
Leader of the alternative government, who's now the current head of state and government in Zambia, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, is going to be leading a very important organ in SADC, the SADC Troika, for the first time. And this is the year we are also going to be having Zimbabwean elections. Do you think that this is going to change the tone as far as SADC will see Zimbabwe, unlike all the other past elections?
Well, SADC is governed by rules, is governed by laws and statutes, and it is the organs that run SADC. We have always trusted the doctrine and principle of African solutions to African problems. And we've said to SADC, we've said to the AU, our problems would require your cooperation. Help us to help ourselves. None but ourselves as a people can liberate this country. But what we need is the helping hand to make sure that we have free and fair elections, to make sure that the journey to elections is not littered with violence, intimidation, fraud, or bloodshed. Let us have a peaceful election. Let us have a credible plebiscite. And once we have had that election, let the outcome of that election be respected. And we count on our partners, we count on SADC, the AU, and the international community to scaffold and underwrite the irreversibility of a credible outcome and an irreversible mandate of the people of Zimbabwe. So that ultimately is the supremacy of the ballot and not the bullet. Ultimately, it is the supremacy of the will of the people, not the will and caprices of a few individuals.
Last but not least, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, Zimbabwe message that you've got today is your birthday. What is your message as your various Zimbabweans that are looking forward to you on such a day?
It's not important to celebrate an individual's birthday without celebrating the birthday of a country. But thank God, 2023 is the year Zimbabwe is going to be born again. Yes, we were born in 1980, we acknowledge that. But a lot of things have gone bad. We need to turn the corner. We need a new trajectory. We need a new journey. We need a new chapter and a new direction as a people. And to be able to do that, we must give Zimbabwe a birthday present. Our independence, our freedom this year is going to be the fitting independence present to Zimbabwe. Freedom is what Zimbabweans want. Dignity, opportunity, diversity, prosperity, celebrating who we are as a people and making sure that we remain one people. But I'm excited that at 45, Zimbabwe is going to also realize it's sudden, it's a moment of evidence, and it's a moment of celebration. It's going to happen. They know it. You ask ZANU-PF, they know that it's going to happen. We know it. Zimbabweans know it. The world knows. Even the region, they are aware that the change is in the air, and change is coming. And change is coming. Let's celebrate.